This week on Space Startup News, we cover Astroforge, an asteroid mining company, is on the brink of launching its second satellite. We'll also explore how various European space startups have secured funding from the European Space Agency for the development of high-thrust engines, aiming to bolster Europe's presence in space technology. Additionally, we'll discuss a Chinese space startup that has introduced a launch tower concept that looks strikingly familiar. Finally, we'll cover Skyrover's recent achievement with Viasat and CGI in successfully testing their in-range telemetry system on the ground, a step forward in improving launch vehicle communications. Okay, let's get started. Astroforge picks up first commercial deep space license. Astroforge, the California-based asteroid mining company, has received the first ever FCC experimental license for a private commercial deep space mission. This license clears the way for Astroforge's satellite, named Odin, to move forward with the mission. Odin is set to launch on the 3rd of November 2024 as part of a rideshare on the IM-2 mission, which is Intuitive Machines' second lunar lander expedition. The company's goal is to extract platinum group metals from asteroids. Odin will first image a targeted asteroid, paving the way for a follow-on mission planned for 2026, where Astroforge intends to land on and test mining operations on an asteroid. They also had to round up a group of ground stations across the globe with 30-meter dishes capable of talking to distant spacecraft. I was actually surprised by how many commercial entities were offering that band for us, Astroforge co-founder and CTO Jose Aguin said. Okay, on to our second story this week. ESA chooses 4 companies to spearhead the development of reusable rocket technology. The European Space Agency, or ESA for short, selected Rocket Factory Augsburg, the Exploration Company, Ariane Group, and ISAR Aerospace to develop reusable rocket technology. This selection was made public during ESA's Future Space Transportation Award ceremony on the 9th of October 2024. The ceremony highlighted 2 key initiatives: the Technologies for High-Thrust Reusable Space Transportation, or THRUST, project, and the Boosters for European Space Transportation, or BEST project. For more information about the winners of this competition, I've made videos on each of these companies, with a special note that information about Ariane Group can be found in the video on Myospace, which is owned by Ariane Group. Following the announcement, ESA will commence contract negotiations with these winners to further refine and test their solutions for reusable rocket technology. A little more on the THRUST project awards. The THRUST initiative aims to push forward the development of European liquid propulsion systems, targeting a demonstration of a high-thrust, staged combustion engine technology. Following the 9th of October award ceremony, Rocket Factory Augsburg and the Exploration Company were selected to develop projects under this initiative. The Exploration Company is developing, with backing received from the French Space Agency, the Typhoon high-thrust engine. This engine can produce over 200 tons of thrust, similar to SpaceX's Raptor engine. RFA doesn't have any comparable engine under development, or at least they haven't publicly announced it. This means they will have to start development on a high-thrust engine soon. The BEST project was launched to stimulate the development of future reusable rocket first stages or boosters. Under this award, ISAR Aerospace and Ariane Group were selected for funding. Myospace, a subsidiary of Ariane Group, is using Themis, a reusable booster demonstrator that is expected to complete its first hop test in 2025. ISAR Aerospace is currently finishing the development of its Spectrum rocket, with plans for its first launch in late 2025 from the Andøya spaceport in Norway. There has been some speculation about Spectrum 2, a larger version of the rocket, but nothing official from ISAR Aerospace yet. We will just have to wait for more details. Okay, on to our third news story this week. CosmoLeap is a Chinese startup in the space sector that has recently secured funding for developing a reusable rocket named LEAP in English. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce its Chinese name. This rocket includes a recovery system inspired, or should I say copied, from SpaceX's chopstick landing mechanism. The project has attracted investment from several venture capital firms and entities. The LEAP rocket can launch in either recoverable or expended mode. In expendable mode, it can lift over 10 tons to orbit and over 6 tons in recoverable mode. There are also plans for a larger rocket that can loft over 100 tons into orbit, and yes, it looks strikingly like Starship. The company, after receiving 100 million yuan, that's approximately $14 million in financing, has already completed a tower recycling test this month. Cosmoleap is the first Chinese space startup company to develop a chopstick-style launch tower similar to how SpaceX will catch the Starship vehicle and booster. The plan is to develop low-cost, highly reliable and reusable launch vehicles that supports China's large-scale constellation satellite needs. The vehicle can also be used for deep space exploration and low-cost cargo missions. A quote from one of the shareholders is, "As a new generation of commercial aerospace enterprises, Cosmoleap has been positioned to build large-diameter liquid rockets since it was founded. It has a clear development path, an excellent team lineup, a unique and efficient tower recovery solution, and rich engineering experience accumulated to pave the way for development." Unquote. Cosmoleap is moving fast and expects its first launch in 2025 or 2026. Okay, onto our final story for this week. Skyrover, in partnership with Viasat and CGI, has completed a successful ground test of InRange, a system developed by Viasat that, once integrated onto a rocket, sends telemetry data continuously from the launch vehicle throughout all phases of the flight to the Mission Control Center. This ground test, partly funded by the European Space Agency through its BOOST program, represents the first of its kind in the UK. The test was conducted to assess various performance metrics like latency and interference, ensuring that InRange can effectively communicate over Viasat's global L-band satellite network. This successful demonstration not only produced usable telemetry data, but also demonstrates the system's capability by reducing dependence on traditional ground station communications. This step is crucial as Skyrover moves towards conducting a vertical orbital launch from UK soil. Skyrover is now cleared to carry out CCN2, the second stage of the contract, by integrating the InRange system onto the Skylark L suborbital vehicle. By using a service like InRange to transmit data between the launch vehicle and the control center, it simplifies launch site selection as you don't need a ground station nearby. Volodymyr Levkin, CEO and founder of Skyrover, said, "This successful test is a significant step for the global commercial space industry. The InRange telemetry system reduces the likelihood of challenges around recording and transmitting the readings of launch vehicles. As well as saving launch companies millions of pounds, it will offer them more flexibility in launch location and improve their visibility of telemetry data throughout flight, from launch to payload deployment." Okay, that's it for this week. If you want to know more about Skyrover, please check out the video you should see on the screen now. They should be launching from the UK in spring 2025. Be sure to subscribe to get the latest news on commercial space startups around the globe. From rocket launchers to space stations, orbital tugs, lunar landers and more, if it's a commercial space startup, we cover it. See you soon.